Oh man, so good. You guys already know how much we love jalapenos. These jalapeno popper crescent roll-ups are delicious. I've got some cream cheese here. We've got about 4 ounces. I am going to decrease the size of this recipe, so if you wanna make the full recipe, I'll have it linked in the description box. I've also got some jalapenos. These are from our garden and they are currently frozen. I went ahead and diced them up and then froze them. I'm going to just take a few out of there and dice them up just a little bit more. All right, let's add that to the cream cheese. And you can add as few or as many jalapenos as you want. It's totally up to you. I think I'm actually gonna add a little bit more. All right, jalapenos in there. Let's add some cheese. We are using our favorite Kerrygold cheese. Totally up to you what cheese you wanna use. I'm also gonna toss in a little bit of onion powder and a little bit of garlic powder, and also just a touch of salt. You could add chicken or shrimp or sausage to this. That would also be delicious. My oven is currently preheated to 375 degrees. Let's roll out the crescent. And I'm just gonna spoon a little bit of the mixture onto each one. You want about a tablespoon, and then you're just gonna roll it up like you do a normal crescent roll. These are really great for an appetizer night. So good. These are gonna bake for 9 to 12 minutes. I'm gonna set my timer for 10 and check them. How good do these jalapeno ones look? All right, let's just taste a little bit here, see how it is. All right, these do have some heat to them. If you guys saw the jalapeno popper casserole that I made in this video right here, it was so good. This tastes very similar, but I left some seeds in this one. You got the heat in that one. Oh man, so good. I wanna make these up right now because they can go in the refrigerator and sit for a little while. We are going to make cranberry, pecan, goat cheese truffles. These look so good. I am gonna be cutting this recipe in half just because it is only the 4 of us eating this tonight, but if I were taking it to somebody's house, I would absolutely make the full recipe. I'm starting off by mincing up about 1/4 cup of parsley. I'm also gonna take some of these dried cranberries and cut them up. For the amount that we're making, we need about a 1/2 cup. I'm gonna add some pecan chips to this. I already bought them chopped up, about 3/4 of a cup. All right, to this bowl here, I am gonna add this goat cheese. This is 4 ounces. In addition to that, 3 ounces of cream cheese, about a teaspoon of cinnamon. And to that, I'm gonna add about a 1.5 tablespoons of honey. I'm using my handy hand mixer here, beat this together. I'm taking our chopped ingredients and I'm gonna put them all into this bowl. Now using my cookie scoop, we are going to take little bits here and drop it in and kind of shake it around, get it coated in that yummy stuff we've got. These are going in the refrigerator until we're ready to eat. The cheese balls were perfect. Those were actually my daughter's favorite. We served those along with pretzel sticks. I also did forget, you can drizzle the top of them with honey and that will add another element of flavor, but they were so good. We're gonna make some goat cheese and apricot crostinis. Y'all, these are so good. I have a French baguette here that I am going to slice. I am going to use the regular oven. I'm gonna spray it with this olive oil spray. You could also just use olive oil. Okay, these are gonna go in the oven at 400 degrees for about 3 to 5 minutes. Take some pistachios, shell them, put them in a little baggie, break them up into pieces. Okay, while the bread is in the oven, I'm gonna prepare everything else. I've got some goat cheese right here. It's nice and spreadable, so I don't really have to worry about doing anything with that. I am going to separate out some of these mint leaves just for decoration or garnish, decoration, for garnish on the plate. And then the rest of them, I'm gonna chop up. And I'm gonna go ahead and open up this apricot preserve and have that ready. To make these up, we are going to take some goat cheese and spread it onto the crostini, add a little bit of that apricot on the top, and then some pistachios and the chopped mint, and serve it up. This apricot goat cheese crostini was so good. I love the little crunchiness that the pistachios gave it, but it was the perfect amount of sweetness. I just really enjoyed this one. We are going to make some cranberry brie bites with rosemary. Now, this recipe actually calls for puff pastry, but my store was out of it. You can do the exact same thing with crescent rolls, so that's what we're gonna be using. I've also already cut up my brie into kind of bite-sized pieces. I would say they're roughly an inch or so. We are going to take our crescent rolls. I have a lightly floured surface here, and I'm gonna try and roll them out as much as I possibly can in a sheet. I think that's gonna make it easier on me. And I'm just gonna press the seams together because we're not using it in the crescent roll form. Mostly just the diagonal seams. The other seams are fine. We actually probably would cut it there anyway. Cut this into squares. Let's spray our muffin tin. And I'm just gonna take the pastry, smash it out just a little bit, and then add it into the muffin hole spot. We're taking a little bit of brie and just dropping it into each one of these little puff pastry cups. I'm gonna take a little bit of cranberry and add it to each one. You can absolutely use raspberry or strawberry or some other flavor if cranberry is not something that you enjoy. The next thing that makes this really pretty is to add a couple little sprigs of rosemary to each one. I've got my oven preheated to 375 degrees. These are gonna go in the oven for 9 to 12 minutes or so. I'll watch it and just make sure that the little shells don't get overdone. Basically, if you say brie at our house, we're in. We love brie. I have made them before with raspberry, strawberry, blackberry. I think we've made them with apricot. There's so many different ways to go about these, depending on which type of fruit you prefer in them. The next recipe that we are making is a whipped feta. The first time that we had this, it was in a restaurant, and I immediately knew I had to figure out how to make it. It is so good. To my bowl here, I'm gonna add about 2 ounces of feta cheese. Actually, I'm actually gonna measure this one. And I am dividing this recipe in half, again, because it's just the 4 of us, but you would probably wanna make the full recipe if you're taking it somewhere. All right, so that's actually a little over 2 ounces, but that is okay. All right, we're gonna add about 2 ounces of cream cheese. I'm adding about a half tablespoon of olive oil, about a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic. Just gonna add some parsley, and we're just gonna tear this up into it. Take my hand mixer and mix all of this together. You could do this in a food processor, and it would really do this quickly for you. All right, here's how we're gonna elevate it. Take some pistachios. I am gonna shell them, put them in a little baggie, and we're gonna break them up into pieces. I'm gonna take some pepper and just put it around the edge as best as I can. This might be a bit of a challenge, but we're gonna go for it. And now we're gonna take our pistachio pieces and also put those around the edge. Okay, this is going in the refrigerator because we're not quite ready to use it, and then I'm gonna fill the center with honey when we're ready to serve. I told you guys already that I love the whipped feta, and I had to figure that one out several years ago when we tried this in a restaurant for the first time. So good. We love the flavors of this one, and we served that one along with pita chips. It's also really good served with just like crusty bread. It's perfect that way too. Okay, in this recipe, we are going to be using a bundt pan. If you are making this for more people than just 4 like I am, I highly suggest that you actually use 2 cans of biscuit dough. I'm only gonna use 1. We just don't need all of that. I melted a half a stick of butter, and to that butter, we are going to add some minced garlic. And I'm not measuring this, but you want a decent amount of minced garlic in here because you're gonna roll biscuits around in there. So that's probably just over a teaspoon. Now I have some bowls that are pre-filled with some of my ingredients here. We've got black sesame seeds, we've got some taco seasoning, some everything but the bagel seasoning. I've got some chopped fresh parsley. This right here is Parmesan and paprika mixed together. And then we have some of our favorite Kerrygold cheese. And actually, you know what? Let me spray the blunt pan before I forget. So I'm gonna be cutting these in half. Then we're gonna kind of roll them around, make somewhat of a ball out of it. Dip it in the butter. Your hands are gonna get a little bit messy here. That's okay. Dip it in the butter, and then you're gonna pick which seasoning you wanna roll this around in. Okay, so this one is obviously black sesame seeds, and then you just put that in the bundt pan. And if obviously your hands are gonna get dirty and you're gonna mix up your spices a little bit, and that's okay. This is going in a 350-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes until it gets nice and golden brown, but it's gonna be really pretty. Look how pretty this pull-apart bread is. I feel like it would be so beautiful to take to a gathering. You've got all these different colors. I feel like bacon, little pieces of bacon would be so good in this, or maybe cranberries, something that's gonna add that red element. But otherwise, look how pretty it is. You could absolutely make this sweet instead of savory with all different colors as well. I've got this French bread loaf here. Let's open this thing up. We're gonna slice it, and we're actually gonna tear out the center. You can use one of the skinnier loaves if you want to. I chose to get one of the bigger loaves just so that we would have plenty. Okay, and then open that up. And we're basically gonna tear out the inside. A little tip though, save the inside. You can actually make breadcrumbs out of that. You can make croutons out of it. French toast casserole, that's really good. Saturday morning, those are perfect. I have a green onion. We're gonna go ahead and cut this up. I also have 4 ounces of cream cheese right here. It's been sitting out on the counter, so it's nearing room temperature. And we're going to add in some of these. Add ingredients that you love, skip out on ingredients that you don't. Okay, add this to the 4 ounces of cream cheese. Now, we also have plenty of jalapeno. If you've been here for a little bit, you know our garden has a lot of jalapeno. So we're gonna add some jalapeno into that. Take most of the seeds out. If a few gets in there, we're not worried about it because my husband and I actually really love spicy. So I'm adding in these 2 jalapenos that are cut, mostly de-seeded. I wasn't too worried about it though. I'm gonna add in some cheese to this. About roughly a half cup or so, maybe a little bit more. You guys know, we like the cheese. Now, if you don't already have cooked bacon like I do on a weekly basis in your refrigerator, then you're gonna want to fry up some bacon. So you just take a pound of bacon, however many pieces of bacon you think that you will use, fry those up, and then we are going to cut / crumble these pieces into that mixture. Okay, we're gonna mix all of this together, and just depending on how it looks, I might end up adding a little bit more cream cheese. I'm gonna mainly focus on just filling this side where I really carved it out. Oh, this is gonna be like the perfect amount. All right, so we have put the lid on. Now we need to make up a buttery garlicness to go on the top. So we're gonna add 3 tablespoons of butter to this bowl. Add a little bit here of minced garlic, probably a little over a clove, and then just a pinch of salt. I'm gonna just heat this in the microwave just so the butter melts. Brush the tops of the baguettes with this garlicky butter. My oven is currently preheated to 375 degrees. These are gonna go in the oven for in between 11 and 13 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and slice the baguettes. All right, we have to try this. That's good. It is a little spicy because I didn't de-seed it completely. That one's really good.